Hi class. Okay, to start off with, I know that the week 5 overview does not have all of the stuff in it. It's got a really cool picture, but no matter how many times I've tried to do it, I have not been able to add these other things, and I decided I was tired of trying. So it's not going to have all of them in there, but they are all in the regular thing. So you're going to have the video quiz like you do every week. Hopefully you watch this and hopefully you get something good out of it, because I do give you very specific things, very specific ideas and everything. It kind of takes the place of class time. So I'm hoping that you watch it and pay close attention to it. Okay, now thesis statements is what we are going to be talking about first. With the, let's talk a minute about basic essay structure again, though. With basic essay structure, remember that the introduction, I'm going to say this many times because a wise man said, the key to learning is repetition. So I will say it many times. In the introductory paragraph, you're going to have a title and introduction that catches our attention and introduces the subject. That's all it's going to do. And then the last sentence of the introduction is going to be your thesis statement. Now, one of the really good essays that were turned in last time had a paragraph problem because she should have had 2 paragraphs in her introduction before her thesis. And she said, but you said at the end of the first paragraph should be the thesis. And so let's modify that a little bit. It's not at the end of the first paragraph, it's at the end of the introduction. So sometimes the introduction might go a couple of paragraphs if you are going broad and then going narrow and being specific. Sometimes or telling a story, sometimes the introduction will be more than 1 paragraph. But at the end of the introduction is the thesis. Now let's go, this thesis statement for your evaluation essay is going to be a more clear statement than it was for the reflection essay. So your thesis statement is going to do these things. Clearly state the topic of the essay. Take a stand or position. It has to have a fact plus a claim. Now the suggestions that they give in the book, which are very good, are something like, let's just go ahead and read one of the ones that they have here, page 296 or something like that. All right. Okay, it gives an example of something like blank, whatever it is that you've decided to do, has many good qualities, including blank and blank. However, the pluses do not outweigh its one major drawback, namely that blank. So, there's also some examples of thesis statements from the readings. McDonald's is bad for your kids. These jobs undermine school and attendance, and it goes on with it. Okay, both of these state thesis statements assert the writer's judgment clearly and also forecast the reasons that will support the argument. Okay, so that's what you're going to do, is you're going to say, let's see, what are some of the things that you guys have said? Oh, many of you have said things like, many of the topics, it would be better if it would be more interesting and more interesting for you and other people probably, including me, if you didn't pick one that would have been overdone quite a bit. Like, for example, social media. Yeah, that has been overdone quite a bit. But maybe, okay, now I kind of am doing electric cars throughout. That's been done a lot too, though. But still, you would say electric cars are beneficial because of, and then you could say things like good for the environment and oh, my daughter has a Tesla and she absolutely loves that thing. So what is it besides good for the environment? The Tesla itself, it like helps drive. So when my granddaughter was learning how to drive, she loves her Tesla because it will help her drive. So you could say Teslas. You could say a Tesla is a good investment because it is economical, and it has it's good for the environment. It's not really economical. It's good for the environment because I'm going to quit. Okay, before you tell me, hey, it's not there anymore. Okay, I'm going to show you something that I haven't been able to figure out how to fix. But let's go to week 5. And let's go to the overview. And what I do have is this awesome picture and the right dates, but it only has 2 things. And I've tried to fix and put the other things in there several times until I got tired of it, and so I quit. And so they are all here. They're just not all listed on the overview. And they're all in this class schedule too. But let's talk about each part. Okay, we're going to start with the video quiz. You guys know to do that. And then we're going to talk about thesis statements. Now, remember that what you're going to be doing is you're going to, when you write your essay this time, you're going to have a title and an introduction, and at the end of the introduction is a thesis statement. Now, your introduction can be more than 1 paragraph. In one of the best essays that was in the class, the thesis statement was actually, the introduction was actually 2 paragraphs, and then the thesis statement was at the end. And that's okay, as long as you have your thesis statement at the end of the introduction. And what the introduction, you're going to have a title that catches my attention. Evaluation essay probably will not do it. Okay, and then you're going to introduce a subject. What is it you're going to be evaluating? And then you are going to, at the end of your introduction, you're going to have your thesis statement. Now, they are usually the last sentence of the first paragraph, but they might be the last sentence of the introduction if the introduction is longer than just 1. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of some good thesis statements. They're from the book. Now, I hope that you guys have the book now, because you really need to read Chapter 7, especially the parts where it says a guide to writing evaluations, because that's where I take all of my stuff, most of my stuff, and my expertise and all that. But anyway, that's where most of the stuff comes from, and it will teach you how to write the evaluation essay. If you read this through and internalize it, you will be able to write a better essay. But a thesis statement, it clearly states the topic of the essay, like if I were going to do electric cars or a Tesla, something like that, you know, electric vehicles. It's someplace within that introduction I would mention that I'm going to be writing about the electric cars. And then take a stand or position is a fact plus claim. So it gives you examples on page 297 in the 13th edition, but whatever, you can find it there. It's giving you examples of a thesis statement. It would be like blank, whatever you're evaluating. Like for me, I do electric cars, have many good qualities, including environmental friendliness and quiet. They're quiet. Okay. However, the pluses do not outweigh its one major drawback, namely that, and then I would say whatever the major drawback was. Or I could say that you could do it other ways too. Blank has many good qualities, has a few drawbacks, including blank and blank. However, it is good through its superb and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to, and it gives you examples of, it states, look at this paragraph, both of these thesis statements assert, gave you a couple of examples from the essay. Both of these, from the essays in the book. Both of these thesis statements assert the writer's judgment clearly and also forecast the reasons that will support the argument. And that is a really good idea to do for your evaluation essay. I'm going to want you to write a forecasting statement for your essay. Okay, you're going to say blank has like you did with that one. Okay, in fact, I think I gave you that also in the overview. Let's look at that. Okay, this is pretty much what it says from the book. You could name your subject and use value terms to state your judgment of the subject's strengths and weaknesses. Blank has many good qualities, including blank, blank, and blank. However, the negatives outweigh the positives, or even though blank has many negative qualities, the overall positive outweigh the negatives. So whichever way you want to go with it, but those are good thesis statements. And it's a good idea not to reinvent the wheel, but to just go ahead and go with that. Okay, it's going to take a standard position. It's going to have a limited focus and consider the length of the essay. I know one person said that they wanted to evaluate immigration. That would be way too broad. You'd need to focus down on maybe just one, maybe the wall, something like that. Have something worthwhile to say. Avoid overdone subjects. Now that I've told a couple of you. Maybe this is overdone. Social media is overdone. AI is overdone. There's quite a few that are overdone. Whether college is effective or not is overdone. So maybe try to find one that's not been done a million times would be a better idea. And it has to have a reasonable tone. You're always going to have a reasonable tone. Anytime that you write in the essays, you're not going to yell at anybody. It should not be a statement of fact. It should not include broad or vague words like Teslas are good. That probably would not be a very good one. You do not ever announce a topic. In this essay, I am going to. Oh, that bugs me a lot. It bugs me a lot. Don't do it. And a thesis is never in the form of a question. You can use a question to introduce it, but a thesis is never in the form of a question. You're going to have some ideas for thesis statements. You're going to say which is good or not, and then you are going to make a thesis statement for me for your quiz. He gives you an example here of vampires. Though many people have believed in the supernatural qualities of vampires for centuries, vampires' unique characteristics can be explained scientifically. This isn't necessarily an evaluation thesis statement, it's just a plain thesis statement. So what you're going to do is you're going to talk about gangs. You're going to make me a thesis statement on the purposes of gangs. Okay? So that's what you're going to do for the quiz. Okay, I have to go back. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is the library assignment, because you are going to get used to using the library, because in the next 3 essays you will need to have something from the library in each one of them. So you're going to take the quiz. It's right there. It's worth 40 points. I think I'm going to change the due date on that. It's due next. I'm going to give you an extra week, and you just go ahead and do this tutorial. It's worth 40 points, and it has to be done before you. So in order for you to pass 101, for the college says that. Okay, it's going to need to be done. That March would give you a really, really long time to do it. But I am going to give you 1 extra week. So I'll give you till October 6th. Okay, if you've already done the assignment, just get in touch with the librarians, have them send me your score, and we'll be good with that. I think some of you already have. So if you've already done it for another English class, you don't need to do it over again. Now what you're going to be doing with this one is you're going to be reading an essay about children's sports, and then you're going to read an evaluation essay about the children's sports. So what you're going to do is you're going to read the essay on page 355, and I'll see if I can find these outside. I'm not sure if I will be able to, so hopefully you have your books. I'm not sure if they are in all the editions, but I will look and see, and hopefully you can. If not, we're going to have to maybe take a picture of the book or something. It never works as well that way, but let me know if you cannot find it. I will try to find it today and see if we can do both of it. So you're going to read the essay. I know that we can find that one. Children should play, not compete. I'm not sure if we can find the evaluation, but I will see. All right. So you're going to evaluate. You're going to read that will give you an example of an evaluation essay. Now, in-text citations. All right, when you cite in your text, and you haven't written your essay yet, but I want you to practice citing doing in-text citations before you start, so that I'll make sure that you know how to do an in-text citation before you actually put one in your essay. Okay, and this tells you everything you need to know. When you cite in your essay 3 pieces of information, you need the quotation or the paraphrase, and remember that even if you are not using the exact words, if you're using someone's ideas, you still need to cite. The page number, if available, most of the time it won't be because it'll be online. But it always has to have the first word in the works cited entry. It's usually the author's last name if you know it, or the first word or words of the title of the article if it's unknown. And here are 2 ways to cite correctly in your text. One of them is by mentioning the first word in the works cited entry in the text of your essay. So you just mention the author and say they said so and such. According to Sidney Maynard, surrounded by thin models and TV stars, teenage girls are taught to achieve an impossible goal. So, and then the page number. And notice where the period is. It is right there at the end of that. And then you don't have to mention it in the side of the essay, but you can put it in parentheses. And here would be the way that you would do that. And notice there's no comma. Okay. Note, if you don't have, there's lots of notes. If you don't have the author's name, use the first word or words of the title of the article. If you quote someone who's quoting someone else, use it this way. This is who said it, and this is where it's quoted in. The sandwich rule, this is very important. When you use a quotation in your text, you must introduce it, the first piece of bread in the sandwich, then add the quotation, the sandwich meat, and then comment on it. And then all 3 parts of the sandwich need to be present in every in-text citation. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the library, to the databases, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. And you're going to find 2 acceptable outside sources from the library database and find a quotation you might use in your essay and correctly cite them. You should have 2 quotations. And this is an example of one. This is according to Christine Lyons. That's the first word in the works cited page. And then that's the quotation. And then this one, it talks about there's the facts and there's that. Okay. So it's worth 20 points. I want you to know how to do in-text citations before you actually write your essay, so that you'll be able, you won't be completely unfamiliar with what's going on with that. Okay, so let's go to show you how to use the library database in case you have not. You go to the library database and you go to article databases. Now, the one that I found is best for the evaluation essay because you were giving pros and cons is you go to the one here which is pro and con issues. And the best one to use I have found is Gale Opposing Views in Context. Now, there's several things that you could that are here, but if you probably are going to want to go down here to browse all the issues, because you probably will find yours there. For example, I was sticking with the electric and hybrid cars. Then it gives you quite a few things. It gives you academic journals, which you don't have to use for this one. You really don't. You'll have to use an academic journal for your research paper, but you may not want to for this. But it's up to you. So these are all different things. Okay. And let me show you something that is, well, we'll talk about. Now your works cited page we'll talk about later. But let's just do the in-text citation. It gives you quite a few things. Hybrid cars, electric cars. Okay, it gives you lots of different for and against things. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's go back here then to the rest of your essay. Okay. If you want to revise your essay and your last essay, if you want, and one person has asked to do that, I think maybe well, let's look at what you'd have to do and see if it would be worth the few points that you probably would get. Okay, let's go to the orientation module and then go to revision. Revision is not just going through and trying to get 5 more points or something like that. It is really rethinking the whole paper, changing paragraphs, adding details, changing the basic structure. You can revise it if you want to, and then I would make it due in a week. I'm not going to put the, well, I guess I've got it already in there. Okay, now the steps for revision, you're going to note my comments, rethink your paper. Don't fall in love with your first draft. Instead, rewrite the essay using the suggestions I made. Don't use tweezers when a meat cleaver is more important, okay? Now, you are going to, in order to do a revision, you either have to go to the Writing Center or schedule a conference with me. If you go to the Writing Center, you get extra credit, because you do have that for that option for that. But you have to prove to me that you did. So you're either going to have to go to the Writing Center or a Zoom conference with me to discuss the changes you plan to make. Then you're going to rewrite the paper, highlight the changes you made, and this is important because I won't take it without it. Include a cover letter as the first page of the resubmitted assignment. This letter will explain all the changes you made, why they made them, and what you've learned from the process of revising your work. It's very important this letter is clear and detailed. In reality, the letter is an argument that you deserve more points based on the additional work you've done to improve the essay. And all good arguments have evidence, so make sure that your cover letter includes lots of specific details about what you changed and why. And you won't be turning it into the same slot as you turned in the original essay. I did make a revision slot for you. So, all right. I think that gives you quite a few things to do. I like that little guy. That's the way I'm sure that you feel and I feel at times. But I gave you quite a bit of stuff this time, and so it's all things that you need to know in order to write your next essay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay. And I'll have my office hours on Tuesday. I was excited because 4 people actually came to my office hours. I was so happy. Yeah, I like it when people actually come and let me help you. Because if you have any questions or problems, I'll be glad to help you. Or schedule a Zoom conference. Let me mention, though, that if you want to schedule a Zoom conference with me, sometimes I only, you know, I do this. I go to this site and check you guys a couple of times a day usually, but if you want to set up a conference, don't say can we do it later on today, because sometimes I may not go back to the site in order to do that. So give me a couple of days and a couple of specific times. You know, can we do Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and then maybe give me one more suggestion, and then I will pick whichever one works with both our schedules. Alrighty, people. Let me know if I can help. The 17 of you that turned in your reflection essay, good for you. The rest of you, you can turn it in late if you want to. Let me know, and I will open up the assignment so you can turn it in late. But if you want to just work on your evaluation essay and count that one as a loss, that's up to you. It was only worth 50 points. The evaluation essay will be worth more, worth 75, because it only is going to require 3 to 4 pages. The position essay will be worth more than that. And then the research paper will be worth a lot more. So, okay. All right, guys. I'm here to help you succeed. So anytime you need me, be sure that you